Okay, let's do this one last time. His name is Miles Morales. He says, "Welcome to Nick's Toy Box." Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Nick's Toy Box, your place for everything Hot Toys, Marvel Legends, and other collectibles. Today, we are taking a look at the Hot Toys movie masterpiece 1/6 scale Miles Morales, aka Spider-Man. This is the Miles G. Morales. This is the one and only true Miles Morales. Finally closing out my set for the whole Across the Spiderverse line. And I think we're going to end on a super high note. I've been so excited to get this guy in hand. And now that he's finally here, I'm absolutely through the roof. So sit down, get comfortable, get ready for probably one of the coolest Miles. Following the trend of everybody else in this line, we get a super tall, not wide, box that is eccentric, colorful, absolutely splattered with comic-esque themes. We have beautiful logos, beautiful name text, and awesome just, pictures of the figure. Mind you, these are digital renders right here up front, at least from the actual movie. That is not the figure itself. I know I tend to not really like that. I prefer to see what we're actually getting in hand as opposed to the movie itself because they can be vastly different. It does work and it does look really cool. Love the portal-esque looks that scattered throughout. Everything about these boxes really captures the essence of the movie Across the Spider-Verse. So, beautifully done, and I really love this unique design. Once we get the slipcover off, we are introduced to the portal-esque, uh, you know, view box where we can see the figure and his array of accessories. I very much love this beautiful bright red with all of these textile lines and you got the names, the logos. But what I love the most is when we flip it all the way to its back and we see actual toy photography of the figure. Getting ahead of myself, but I wanted to get that out of the way because, like I said, that is my bread and butter. I want to see what we are actually getting in hand. Unfortunately for this one, I did not get the alternative head sculpt. This was probably one of the hardest figures for me to obtain as of late. But whichever version I could get, I was very happy to get. But now it's time to get this amazing figure out with all of his amazing accessories because he is not slacking in the slightest. Following the trend for Across the Spider-Verse, he gets a really cool backdrop. He gets that beautifully done hexagonal base with that cool comic book font. He does come with something a little different, and that's going to be this portal that wraps around his base. Everything else is going to be the same for the hexagon, the flight pole with the waist grabber and things like that for maximum Spider-Man posing. Real quick, I want to talk about it before it gets away from us. The hexagonal base, I think, is awesome in theory. When you have it actually nice and secure, it's awesome in practice. However, mine kept separating and falling apart, and at one point, I almost considered just throwing it away or not even using it because mine kept falling apart, and it was a big headache, and it became more of a problem than it was worth. I would have preferred it to be actually fully constructed, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. My biggest complaint is the weirdly shaped, weirdly folded backdrop. Not only is it my least favorite from the Across the Spider-Verse, it's probably my least favorite backdrop I've gotten ever. Hate the way it's folded, especially because it wants you to display it the other way, but the fold lines makes it want to display it this way. And with that, it's supposed to be like you can use either side, but getting it on the other side was a headache. It keeps wanting to collapse because of where they're angled at the bottom, and the giant angle up top makes trying to put this in a DTOF or anything like that damn near impossible. I think the colors on it and the scheme is really cool, but why couldn't we get the normal one, like the trifold one like we saw with 2099 or Miles G. Morales? Or if you wanted something more extravagant, why not three-part it like Hobie's? I don't know. Not a big fan of it. Kind of hate it. What I do love is the inclusion of the spots. magnetic hand and foot because I can add it throughout my entire Across the Spider-Verse thing. Sorry, you see me panning. Let's just get a grasp of how tall this thing is. But those additions are nice because it really levels up my stuff. Keeping it pushing, we get the web accessories that are pretty standard for Spider-Man nowadays. Kind of, because you can get some that are like from the video game lines or from this line. Either way, we're going to keep it pushing. It's a nice inclusion. But what is an awesome inclusion are these cloth goods that not only layer on top of each other beautifully, you can put them on individually to really level up your customization for Miles. Admittedly, this is my first time working with a 1/6 scale figure that I could swap out clothing on to change. So it took a little getting used to of actually fully clothing him up or down. But once I got the hang of it, it was loads of fun, and I was really torn for a while on how I wanted him to display because I'm hoping you'll see it in this interview or review, that both options look really awesome. If you could let me know in the comments below how you would display him or how you have him displayed, maybe it'll help me with my ultimate decision how I want my Miles to be displayed. But with that, all of mine were done perfect. I had no issues, nothing like with the stitching or anything like that. So it's awesome. Another really cool inclusion is going to be this little comic book. I like when we get small stuff like this for superheroes because, I mean, they came from comics. So giving us them, like we've been seeing with the Marvel Legends in their new line, and like from Hot Toys here and there, it is an awesome inclusion. Now this thing can actually open, it has pages, nothing actually comic-esque inside, but some promotional art. Still an awesome inclusion to have. Stuff like this makes play features just leveled up. And if you have like Deadpool or another character like that, giving him all of these comics is just that much more loads of fun. It's time for our customary first look at the person in hand, with of course today being Miles. First in hand look as we get him unpackaged. This is a really cool suit. It's far away from the traditional Spider-Man, no web lines or anything like that, but really cool. Really excited to get into it. Just like I'm really excited to get into this freaking awesome head sculpt. Once again, just a quick overview. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. Just want to take a little moment to just say, man, that's cool looking. We get a cool little rubbery neck piece for when he's in his normal clothes to, make it look more natural. And that is an awesome inclusion. I didn't know what to think about it, but then I saw it on there, and you'll see in the future when we get to it. It actually looks really good. We get loads of accessories. I can't stress it enough. All the hands. You get shoes to slide over him for his normal wear, which are beautifully done and textured and molded and everything like that. No complaints at all. This is like a stellar figure with a stellar amount of accessories. Not to sound like a broken record. I'm going to try my hardest not to. But man, this is just so much fun. It's been a while since I've opened up a figure like this and just had the time of my life looking at everything. Like I said, we get so much like this awesome Spidey sense going off that can magnetize to his head. All of these workings make posing him and play features and everything like that so much fun and such a unique experience for everybody because it's just based on how you want to pose and how you imagine it. It's pretty limitless, which for a premium figure, that's always awesome because it makes us feel like kids again. Only thing is this piece kind of sucked. I hate working with it. We'll kind of talk about it. I think they need to fine tune it more to get those magnets to stick on the head better and not feel so flimsy and kind of cheap. But with that aside, I'm still happy with the inclusion of it. Just think it needs some work. Keeping it going here, in case you didn't know, there's some magnet working. So whenever you get a little piece like this, it is to work with magnets to make your life way more convenient. For this instance, it's going to be for taking the eyes off of the head sculpt. We get a cool little day pass bracelet that we see in the movie from Across the Spiderverse that fits on his hand, kind of loose fitting, which is good. I don't really want it pulling on his outfit. Anyways, we get plenty array of hands here, which are beautifully painted, and you can see his kind of shimmer that matches the rest of his outfit with those reds that really look as if they were kind of painted on, the way that it bleeds out. Beautifully done, and we get a beautiful array of hands too. I love these kind of animated style when you see them for like the wall crawling and otherwise for the open hands like that, the way the fingers bend. Awesome looks. And then Hot Toy actually saves the day by giving us these very notable swinging hands and actual fist hands. Thank you so much, Hot Toys, for keeping this standard up that you're kind of moving away from. We get one pair of flesh-toned hands for when he's in his normal clothes. They're painted very well, done beautifully. We get the 3 different styles for the head sculpt. But now, how about we take a look at Miles himself? Off the bat, I'm just going to say it. I love this figure for a variety of reasons. I love his unique take on the Spider-Man costume. That's more so for the character than the figure, but it's transcribed beautifully in the 1/6 scale. As we see when we dig into this, you're going to see a lot of posing capabilities. Keep in mind, some areas have stress parts. I'm sure you've seen it on TikTok and other places. But beyond that, posing him, loads of fun. Continuing on, like I said, it's not often we get a character in 1/6 scale that we can swap out from 2 different outfits. And him being able to do it and do it fairly easy is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful inclusion. He pops in person that a camera I don't think could ever fully capture when he's in this suit. So with that, and all of that in mind, now that we've been able to see him do some full rotations, how about we take him off of this little table here and get a closer look at Miles Morales in his Spider-Man costume. Like I was saying previously, he has these cool uniqueness, like shimmers, and just beautifully done on this costume. And part of that's going to be because of the kind of metallic blue underneath the black, and the black being thin and almost transparent. So you can see it shimmer as it moves throughout on this body. These reds that are intertwined on it definitely look as if somebody took a spray paint and put it onto a costume, which is, true for this character, and it's transcribed over beautifully well from, the bottom of his feet to his sides to his Spidey symbol. These giant comical eyes are so well crafted and well done. There's even texture in them, if my camera could pick it up. This is excellent work. The seam lines are, I think, pretty well executed throughout, where we don't really run into the issue of them being prominent, especially when we start doing a lot of this posing. And like I was saying, this guy can pose for days. Just keep in mind, under the armpits and in the crotch area are going to be some stress points. Please keep that in mind, as a lot of people have ruined this figure trying to do crazy, crazy posing with it. With that, if you're not super, super stressing this out, you can do loads of fun posing him. This is probably one of the most posable Spider-Man we have gotten in recent years. And so I think that is awesome. Of course, the problem with that, which we'll discuss more in a little bit, is deciding how do you want to pose him when you have a Spider-Man that could go in his normal clothes or his Spidey outfit. But we'll get to that later. I really find myself, when posing him, not worried about the wrinkles and everything that much because of how realistic the suit looks and feels to what I would imagine like this type of spandex style suit would be, like transcribed to the real world taken out of the animation style. But focusing more on the articulation again, as you can see so far, we don't have any issues. He poses probably the most freely moving. With that, you can see some stress points. They do a good job of kind of showing themselves when you do posing, when you see blue spots highlighted. That's going to kind of show you that I think you're kind of wearing something a little bit more thin over time. Just keep that in mind. This fabric is exceptionally thin, so we can see those blue accents. So I don't want to sound like a broken record. Just keep that in mind. But overall, though, this posing it's out of the ballpark. It's phenomenally done. With that, though, we're going to keep it moving on to the next thing. It's going to be him and his customizable eyes. I'm going to say and let you know off the bat, one of my magnets was messed up on one of the eyes for the really big ones, which is a little unfortunate. So it keeps popping out and getting rejected. Not a whole lot I can do, except for maybe in the future, heat it up and get it taken out and swap it and hope for the best. But with that, I love the amount of lenses that we get because it really gives us a lot of different emotions that we can display. And you can see there in that moment when it pops out and it fights against it right here. That's how it would look. I love those big, oh my god, eyes. But mine won't stay in, unfortunately. As you can see, it's getting shot out like a missile. And trust me, I tried every different variation. You can see it as I'm letting my thumb go. It is fighting against it. That's not me putting any weird pressure on it. That's just how it's happening organically. Anyways, like I said, not a whole lot I can do. Life goes on. It's a little unfortunate. But I love this inclusion of all of these different lenses because, I mean, it gives us a lot of expression. They're easy to remove. You can mix and match. So your Spider-Man can be uniquely yours. I will admit, these look really good on there, but it's so weird seeing this Miles Morales with normal-sized, like, Spidey lenses because of how much comical over-exaggeration we get in the films that I had to kind of do a double take the first couple times I put these on because I was like, man, it looks weird, but it shouldn't. And that's kind of the reason. But I don't hate them. It's just maybe I'm just so used to the comical style. But like I was saying, with the proper use of this magnetic tool, replacing and swapping is easy. You can do it with your fingers. Just be warned, the more you do that, the more you risk digging into the suit itself, trying to take out these magnets. So I almost always recommend, working with this, even if it does weird stuff like this and doesn't catch all the way. You can work with it a bit and eventually it should give way. But if it doesn't, like I said, you gently try to lift them up and not ruin your suit. With that, we've looked at Spider-Man Miles Morales. We kind of have to do like a two-parter and take a look at normal Miles Morales. So let's throw him on the turntable and get a look at him. Oh man, this looks really dope too. And that's kind of the conundrum when you get a figure like this, because I mean, this looks freaking awesome. Spoiler alert, as of right now, this is how he's displayed on my shelf. I really toyed with it going back and forth. I almost even contemplating buying a second one, which is still not completely off the table. I might just do it because I love this Miles so much. It would be really cool for him in the Spidey costume on display, but this is like almost unmatched. Those layers and those cloth goods and that head sculpt, everything about it is exceptionally done. I'm completely blown away with almost no complaints for this alternative version. I don't know. You let me know in the comments below which one you prefer, or just regardless if this met your expectations or not for the civilian look Miles Morales as opposed to the suited up Spider-Man Miles Morales. Because for me, man, I was on the fence for a while. But ultimately, just repeatedly seeing him like this ended up being an easy decision for me. But you let me know in the comments below. And with that, let's take him off the turntable and get a bit of a closer look. The biggest thing that I really just want to talk about is, I mean, how do I say this? How well crafted these cloth goods are. I've experienced some in the past with certain figures and other styles of collectibles in various scales. But this one right here really had my jaw on the floor. The colors, the feeling, and everything to it just has this authenticity that I didn't know they would be able to replicate. And they were able to successfully. And for like an icing on the cake moment for this Miles Morales is, of course, he has the separate rolling eyeballs. With a head sculpt that's easy to separate, thanks to the fact that that neck is a totally different piece, we can get our hands in there or the little tool in there really easy and do whatever we want for these eyes to look whichever way. Which, when we get a head sculpt this phenomenal on a body this awesome, it just totally levels up this experience. And, I always talk about it, and I'm sure every other collector does, the inclusion of rolling eyeballs is or should be a mandatory because of how much play features it does to level up. But this whole figure's experience just felt so immersive. between everything. And I don't know when I'm going to get an experience like this again, because this has been an absolutely stellar time with this Miles Morales figure. If you have a lot of experience with cloth goods, or overall you think you have a really good opinion about this, let me know what you think about cloth goods in general in the 1/6 scale and things like this. I guess the biggest question I'm curious about is, do you think we should get a second body mold for it? Or would that be in a borderline more of a deluxe thing, getting almost 2 figures for 1? You let me know. But posing this guy in either realm, whether it's Spider-Man or Miles Morales, you're not going to get bored. The swapping in between, it's limitless. You can do so much. And with these cool play features like the Spidey sense and everything, you could be here for hours, honestly, just posing. And you probably would still have way more ideas that you wanted to try. He is that cool. And he is that fun. And with that, though, I think that kind of wraps it up for me. This was kind of a longer one. And my voice and everything had kind of been all over the place. I'm coming back from like being out of town and a bunch of stuff happening in my life. But anyways, thank you for taking the time to watch this today. The support and everything is always amazing to me. You let me know in the comments down below what you think about this figure. And as always, if you could like and share, leave a comment about any or anything in the video. And if you could subscribe and ring the notification bell, it really helps me and does loads of wonder for me and the channel. And with that, that wraps it up. If you want to see more of me and more of my collection and content, click any of the videos here. As always, this is Nick's Toy Box. I really appreciate you for taking the time to watch, and catch the next one. See ya.